let's talk about that invisible force that really keeps people safe at work, a company's health and safety culture. And, this isn't about some posters on a wall or a dusty rulebook on a shelf. No, it's all about the choices people make when they think nobody is watching. And that right there makes all the difference.
So just think about this for a second. What's the real difference between a workplace that just has a bunch of safety rules and one that actually feels safe? Deep down? One is really just about compliance, ticking boxes, but the other is about commitment. And getting that difference is the key to everything we're about to dig into.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to lay down the foundation of a great safety culture. Then we'll talk about the builders, the competent people you need on your team. After that, we'll open up the communication toolkit that kind of holds it all together and figure out the best way to broadcast that safety message. And finally, we'll see how all of this creates a culture that is so much more than just a list of rules. You wouldn't build a house on sand, right? Well, it's the same thing with a safety culture. The foundation has got to be solid, and that means unwavering commitment and really visible leadership, starting from the very, very top of the organization. Because without that, honestly, everything else is just going to crumble.
Now, this commitment to safety isn't just a one-and-done decision. Think of it more like a cascade or a waterfall. It has to flow totally uninterrupted from the director's office, down through senior managers and supervisors, all the way to every single person on the floor. If you get a break anywhere in that chain, the whole structure gets weak. Okay, visible leadership sounds great, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Well, it's way more than just talk. It's setting a real, measurable target, like, hey team, we're going to reduce accidents by 15% this year. It's managers actually being out on the site, wearing the exact same PPE they expect from everyone else. It's leaders personally chairing the safety meetings, not just sending someone else. That is what leadership in action really is.
So, fantastic leadership sets the vision. That's crucial. But you need skilled people to turn that vision into a reality. And that brings us to the second massive building block of our safety culture, competence. You absolutely have to have the right people with the right skills in every single role. So what do we even mean by competent here? It's a word we hear a lot. But in this context, it's not just about being good at your job. It's about having this very specific mix of knowledge, training, and actual real-world experience to do the work safely. And that's a really, really important distinction. And here's a super easy way to remember this. Just think of the name KATE. It stands for knowledge, ability, training, and experience. These are the 4 pillars of competence. So when you're thinking about a role, you can just ask, does the person know what to do? Do they have the physical ability to do it? Have they had the right training? And do they have the hands-on experience? KATE. Simple. Okay, so we've got committed leadership as our foundation. We've got competent people as our bricks. But how do you stick them together? Well, that's where communication comes in. You can think of it as the mortar that holds all the pieces of your safety culture together, making sure everyone is on the same page. In our communication toolkit, we've basically got 3 main methods to work with. There's verbal, what we say, there's written, what we write down, and there's graphical, what we show with pictures and signs. And as we're about to see, a real pro knows that each one has a very specific job to do. Any good craftsperson knows exactly which tool to use for which job. It's the same here. So let's break down each of our communication methods so we can really understand their strengths and weaknesses and when to use them for the biggest impact. First up, let's talk about talking. Verbal communication. Its real power is how immediate it is. It's personal. You get feedback right away, and you can read body language to see if your message is landing. But, and this is a big but, its weaknesses are just as important. There's no permanent record. Once the words are said, they're gone. Messages can be forgotten or misheard, and it's so easily thrown off by background noise or even language barriers. All right, tool number 2 in our kit is written communication. Its single greatest strength is that it creates a permanent record. You can write a message super carefully and send it out to hundreds of people, and it becomes an official reference point for everyone. So what's the trade-off? Well, it's slower. You don't get that instant feedback. It can feel a little impersonal. And let's be honest, it's totally useless if the person on the other end can't or just doesn't read and understand it. And that brings us to our final tool, graphical communication. You know the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? Well, the power of an image is its speed. The right sign or symbol can slice right through language barriers and be understood in a split second. The limitation here, though, is that it's really best for simple messages. I mean, you can't explain a complex, multi-step procedure with just a pictogram, and there's always that small risk that a symbol could be misunderstood.
So now we get it. We know our tools. But how do we actually use them together? See, effective safety communication isn't about picking just one method. It's about broadcasting the message using a smart, strategic blend of all three.
Broadcasting is the perfect word for this. It's all about taking information from one source and sending it out to a huge audience, using that mix of verbal, written, and graphical tools to make absolutely sure the message gets through, and, more importantly, that it sticks.
And this is what it looks like in the real world. You've seen it a million times. A notice board, right? It combines written text with eye-catching graphical posters. A toolbox talk is verbal, but the supervisor is probably referring to a written handbook. Emails are written, but they can have videos embedded in them, which are both graphical and verbal. It's this blend that makes your communication strong and effective.
Okay, let's bring all of this home. We've talked about leadership, we've talked about competence, and we've talked about communication. But when you add all of those things up, what you get is something way, way more powerful than just a set of rules. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures what a true safety culture is all about. This isn't some project with a start and end date. It's a standard. It's a way of life that has to be lived every single day. And it's held up by that visible commitment, widespread competence, and crystal clear communication. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a good look at your own workplace. Are people just following the rules because they're afraid of getting in trouble? Or is there a real, genuine, shared commitment to keeping everyone safe every single day? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know about the state of your safety culture.